This is the intro shot of the film Belfast, made recently and put out recently by actor and director and all the rest of it, Kenneth Branagh, who spent his first number of years in primary school, up to primary school age in Belfast, and then he moved across with his family to England to escape the Troubles. And we went to see this film the other night, and by and large it was very good. The acting was very good. I particularly liked Kieran Hines and Judi Dench, and of course the wee lad, Jude Law. I thought he played a blinder. It's filmed in black and white to bring a wee bit of authenticity about it, and it adds to the bleakness of the wee Belfast streets. The story revolves around young families' decision-making time. 1969, the Troubles were breaking out. People were being petrol bombed and all the rest of it. There was a lot of intimidation, and what future was there for anybody? So the family really loved Belfast, but the husband, he was working over in England already, and it was a safe haven. So the family finally come round to deciding to leave, and an awful lot of families did leave, and they never came back. And the Branagh family left. They lived off the shore road. And it's the film is a tragi-comedy, and there's plenty of comedy in it. It's a reasonably accurate portrayal of what many families went through, both on the Catholic side and the Protestant side, because both sides left for England and Southern Ireland, and many left even for America and Canada and Australia, never really to return. There's a line in the film that actually says Ireland, both north and south, their greatest export was and is people, and I think they're not far wrong there. This is actually what the streets of Belfast on occasions did look like. You know, armed soldiers with helmets like that, and you'd have been frisked and all the rest of it at barricades and at fences and whatnot. This is what you would have commonly seen on the streets of Belfast in 1969, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. This is a Saracen APC, armoured personnel carrier, and they had some note out of the engine, you know, whenever they're coming fast at you. You wouldn't have wanted to get in the road of one of these boys. And this was, to the best of my recollection, another vehicle that you'd have seen quite a bit on the streets of Belfast. This is a Humber Pig, and it's got the grille up the front. This is a Ferret armoured car, and I certainly never ever saw a Ferret scout car with a big gun like this up the front. Occasionally you'd have got ones with machine guns, but certainly not a turret shell firing gun like what I think this is. Certainly Belfast was a real scary place to live in for a whole lot of people. In 1972, we had Bloody Friday, where when 20 bombs went off in quick succession over a 40-minute period in Belfast city centre, and quite a number of people were killed. I mean, a bomb doesn't recognise whether you're Protestant or Roman Catholic. So many were injured. You know, we're talking about major injuries here. Legs gone, eyesight gone, you know. It was absolutely horrific. This is what I wrote in an email to a friend who at present is sunning it up in Tenerife, just telling him a few thoughts on the film. We got to see the Belfast film. It was a reasonable remembrance of Belfast in 1969. Many scenes resonated, especially with Tanya, my wife, who was put out of one house by Republican petrol bomb rioters in Suffolk. She was 8 or 9 at the time. There were shootings and CS gas being fired regularly in the street outside, but there were quite a few inaccuracies in the film as well. The Protestant minister was completely mad and over the top, shouting and scary. I never saw a local minister behave like this. Paisley came close on occasions, but he was the exception and, you know, in my experience, quite unique. Again, the minister's collar was all wrong. That kind of split collar was very, very rarely worn in Belfast or anywhere else, and was generally last seen in the 17 and 1800s. So why Kenneth Branagh included that, I don't know. It was certainly not something that you would see on the Shore Road, where wee mission halls were the norm, you know. Then we have the scary minister later attending a wake held in a pub, and he's drinking along with the rest. It just would not have happened. And then we have Jimmy Dornan doing his wake song routine, and his father just in the grave. You know, this wouldn't have happened. This might have happened, or may have happened in, you know, Catholic culture, but not in Prod culture back then in the 1960s or late 1960s. Then we have the taking of God's name by Protestants. Again, this usage was prevalent in Catholic society, but generally back then not heard in Protestant circles. And I'm not saying that curse words were never used in Protestant areas. They certainly were, but it was more likely to be the F word and bloody this and bloody that. The street, or rather than taking God's name in vain, I just didn't hear it. I did from Catholic people. The street where Branagh lived was coming down with people too, and youngsters were parading through the ground floor of the house, Branagh's house, as if it were some sort of through passageway or playground. You know, I felt this was just a wee bit over the top, and especially the street coming down with people, everybody out. Eamon Holmes is believed to have made this comment about Kenneth Branagh's Belfast film, and you know, it is a fair comment. The GB News breakfast presenter claimed he was told that Oscar-nominated movie starring Jimmy Dornan, Karen Hines, Judi Dench had to include non-white actors to secure funding. Oh. Mr. Holmes is reputed to have said, "I said to Kenneth, I'm just observing, but we didn't have an Indian corner shop or black teacher or Chinese pupils in classrooms in 1969 Belfast. Belfast wasn't London." The journalist in me was saying that's historically incorrect. And, you know, in my experience, Eamon Holmes is absolutely right on this. You know, it just wasn't accurate. Not in the Belfast I knew. I was surprised that the film made these errors, and very surprised that a Belfast-born boy allowed them to stand. This rather spoiled it for me. Generally speaking, it wasn't too bad though, and of a film, and it was well worth going to see. So that's my wee review of Kenneth Branagh's Belfast film. Now, you might agree or disagree with it, whatever, but maybe I'll provide a talking point. Generally speaking, I enjoyed the film, but I was a wee bit disappointed in those what I thought. were errors, and maybe you can overlook that. The plot and the acting, you know, especially the wee lad Jude Law, you know, he's an absolute star, and of course, forgot to mention music by Van Morrison. Oh, my goodness, it was so good, and it just lifted the film right up there. The music actually made it for me, but then I'm a big Van the Man fan. Maybe you're not. I would encourage anybody to go and see this film.